Welcome to Rope Dropping Knowledge, where we guide you through the magic of Disney.
$185.
Wow.
185. So what? That's just 15 more to 200. And then we'll have some stuff to announce before that happens. But
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
be
figure
celebrating 200 big.
Yes, we'll figure out, plan it, and see who we can collab with and all that stuff.
Yep. All right. Well, it's February, so we have a February giveaway going on, which is the Soaring leather pouch. So
Satchel.
Is it a satchel or a pouch?
I'm going to say satchel because
Okay.
that's what Alan said in The Hangover.
It's a satchel.
It's like the Indiana Jones satchel.
Man purse. No.
No, he says it's not a purse, it's a satchel.
You-
Indiana Jones has one. Sorry.
it has leather accents, leather straps. It's nice. Really cool. They don't make them anymore, so this might be your last chance to get one.
Anuimos.
Yeah.
Hold on, you spelled it wrong.
Well, then no one's going to see that. Why? Who are you doing that for?
That's just me. That's just my OCD.
I guess. She's literally changing stuff in the notes that nobody can see. Even if we were doing a
You
YouTube
could
show,
see.
we wouldn't hold this up and be like, hey.
No, it's for you to read it.
I would still pronounce it however I'm going to pronounce it. You didn't spell it phonetically. Anyway,
did.
yeah. Noimos.
Thank you.
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, it is. It's trademarked. I looked it
Well, I don't
up.
know if it's Noimos or Noimos. You
Oh,
know.
whatever. As long as you say the S at the end, it's fine.
Oh, so that
Nuimos.
that's
That's what I changed.
that's what keeps you up at night.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. We just got a little alert. Ant-Man 3 next week.
Woohoo.
Nice. We're actually going to see it on a Thursday.
Yes, we're going to see it before everyone.
Well, not before everyone, but
Well, before.
before we usually see it.
Yeah. Not before everyone. Those people already saw it like, what, Monday or something?
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reviews are pretty good. Yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit about it in dot points. But yes, we are giving away the sewing pouch and a new Minnie Mouse Nuimos. Nuimos. Nuimosas. Ooh, that's a cool drink.
Mm,
We should make that.
yes. Magic Key Terrace. Let's do it.
And all you have to do to win both is direct message us the answer to this question. Which Disney character would make the best Disney vacation buddy? So what Disney character would you like to bring to the parks, basically? And we've got some pretty cool answers. Some of the best that we've gotten since we've started doing monthly giveaways. And we've been doing monthly giveaways for like almost 3 years. So really cool, really creative people out there, our listeners. And direct message us the answer to your question to Rope Dropping Knowledge on Facebook or Instagram or info@ropedroppingknowledge.com. If you do all three, you get 3 entries. 2, you get 2 entries. 1, you get 1 entry. So the more entries you do, the better. And we will be ending this on, when did we say we were going to be ending this? The last Saturday of the month. I always forget which day that is. It is February 25th.
February 25th.
11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Must be 18 years or older and live in the United States. All righty. I have something that's actually down in the mailroom right now that we will be
Really?
giving away for our next in-park giveaway. But
Ooh.
we don't need to talk about that now because we're not going to be back at the park. Well, at least I won't. I don't think
I
you
won't
will.
either.
Oh, yeah. Till, what 25th?
Yeah. Seems so long.
I know. But
We need to do solo days.
you can do whatever you want.
But you need to do solo days.
I don't need to do solo days.
Why not? You won't look creepy at all.
Yeah, that sounds like a setup. Go do
Plenty of
this.
people do. Fresh Baked. Johnny went to Disney World by himself, but only because Splash Mountain is special to him.
But he was with people. He was with other.
Oh yeah,
content
he met
creators.
other podcasters.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm weird. My CPS days just won't go away, man. I see an adult man walking around a kids park, and it just looks weird to me.
Why don't you go by yourself when I have a girls' day? Then you could just be in the parks with us, but not with us. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
let's see. If I went by myself, oh man, there were so many things I do. Like eat all the sweets that you wouldn't eat with me.
I don't. What's keeping you from doing that? Even when I'm with you, I
No,
never
'cause
say
you're
no.
always
You
like,
can't.
Nah.
I just won't eat them. You want people to eat with you. So if you go by yourself, you're still not going to have people eat with you.
I'll be
Unless
sitting
you're just
there
going up to
eating
strangers.
eating by myself, sitting there eating like a giant, like I don't know, sundae by myself.
And I do take bites of everything you get. You get a pretzel, I take a bite of it. I just
Yeah.
don't want my own pretzel.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to gorge on something when I'm not going to be able to finish it, or it's just I don't want it at that particular point in time. But hey, I'm finding you more and more friends.
That's sad.
I'm-
People think I don't have friends.
You
The
have
way
friends-
you
well,
say it, I'm finding you friends.
Well, Maribel and Vianney are gonna go with you. I'm organizing that trip. You're going with Christina and
Mary.
and maybe Allison.
Yes, I told Allison she should join us.
So yeah, men out there, your wives need play dates. Oh man, if Dole Float lived out here, you'd be
Dude,
there
we'd be going
every
every
freaking
week.
day, dude.
Yeah, too bad when she's here. Well, we're not going to say when, but basically we're blocked. So, or else I would have just left you and been like, I'm out. I think I might do that when Emily and Clayton from Make It Magical are here. They're here
Right.
during the weekdays right before we go in April.
Hmm.
Because when you're traveling, you try to avoid weekends.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we're always going on Saturdays because I don't want to use my PTO. And I keep trying to explain that to people, and they just think, "Oh, boring HR guy. Why are you talking like that?" I was like, "No.
You just like hoarding them.
It's not hoarding them." And I keep telling people, it's just like I gave the tip for how to get vertical pictures
Mm-hmm.
in the stories. Even though, yes, we always give credit to Magical Kind of Mama, who's no longer with
Who is
us.
just no, nothing happened to her.
Well, she's no longer on
She's no
Instagram.
longer on Instagram.
But that was her thing.
She
man.
still exists. She's just
Still
not on
exists.
Instagram. She's not exist as
But
magical.
we got that
Time
tip
Mama.
years ago, but
Mhm.
passing on the knowledge. This is HR knowledge. Look, a lot of people always are computing the magic key cost.
Oh
And-
yeah.
And they're still not, like, they're constantly cutting them off. Right now, I think only the Inspire Pass is left.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I could be go any day now.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, that one's too expensive. And I'm like, dude, if you make $50,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
you're spending like 8 hours of your PTO
Yeah.
for that. So if you
Yeah.
go like, just a few times, you're spending like $100 more per pass anyway. And that's just for one person. If you and your wife works and she has PTO, you're literally could spend with the pass the amount of time you go to Disney, like thousands of dollars more in PTO.
Mm-hmm.
And in California, it's like another HR nerd stuff. But in California, PTO is considered part of your wages. So you get cashed out of your PTO even when you leave the job. So it doesn't go away. It's not use it or lose it like in other states.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a Californian, you have to consider the cost of your PTO per pass. So if you get a lesser pass and you're going during the week, you're still spending more money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't count. They're like, it's a cheaper pass. It's like a few $100s cheaper, but you're spending thousands of dollars more per year.
Yeah.
If you and your wife are both using PTO every day you go. So, but they don't want to hear me though. Remember that song in the 90s? But they don't hear me though. All right, enough on that. We have a kind of a business-like episode because it was the earnings call. And,
Oh wait, don't forget about the Namor giveaway.
Oh, Nemor. Yeah, that ends Saturday, 11:59 p.m. That's our spoiler giveaway for the Funko Pop Nemor. And we'll be doing the drawing on Sunday.
February 12th.
Yeah.
I'll be at another pop-up, but
Mhm.
I can do it at the
So
pop-up.
just go listen to our Wakanda Forever spoiler episode, and yeah, you'll get the magic word to do that. All right.
So do we go to the earnings call and talk about the other stuff later in dot
But,
points, or do you want to?
You want to go to Reedy Creek first? Go to
All
Reedy
right.
Creek. Reedy
So the
Creek.
Reedy Creek plan that DeSantis was talking about, like he says, we'll work out a plan. Well, the plan is that the district will be renamed. He gets to rename the district, and he gets to choose the people in charge on the board of the district.
Yeah, they're monitoring it. First of all, the renaming probably wouldn't happen for 2 years.
I made fun of him.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where, again, it's a face-saving thing.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. The Reedy Creek tax
Yeah.
status, all the financial stuff stays the same.
Yeah.
You know, because we said it at the beginning, you're going to take all the taxes that Disney is responsible for and put it on the counties. Why, as a
Yeah.
governor, would you do that?
Yeah.
You know, no, my constituents that voted me in are going to pay for it.
hmm
But now it's like, okay, well, the name's going to change, and I get to pick some people that are basically going to be Disney stooges anyway to oversee it. It's not, it's nothing, you know. It's a nothing burger.
Fine, give him his win. Whatever.
Well, it's not, it's like, you know. So if you're getting to pick people who are on the board, the state's not taking it over.
Right.
It's just, I'm giving Disney employees is basically what
Yeah,
happens,
yeah.
you know. Yeah. So all this is nothing. Nothing's going to change. I mean, I guess Disney's still going to be looking at the final details to see if they're going to launch any challenges or anything. But Iger's not going to let too much happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, for those of you who go to Walt Disney World, I don't expect any changes because of the Reedy Creek district status or anything. All right, but now let's go into the earnings call.
Okay. Oh, really quickly, Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway sort of lost its hype a little bit last Saturday.
But we said it would.
Yeah. At 1 p.m. last Saturday for the 1 p.m. virtual queue, there were still virtual queues left 5 minutes after 1 p.m.
Yeah, and that is a long time for a virtual queue to
Yeah.
last. Because Rise of Resistance, like
Oh, yeah.
you had, I think the longest was 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And the price went down to like $15 while Rise of the Resistance was still
Yeah,
$25.
the lightning lane.
Yeah, the lightning lane, the individual lightning lane.
And I expected that to happen. And the reason that is because it's only for Disney fans.
Yeah, that's right. You said
You're
that.
not competing with Star Wars fans who
Yeah.
are just coming to the
It's
park just
Star
for
Wars
that ride.
fans and Disney fans. This is just Disney fans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you ask your average person on the street who doesn't go to Disney what, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is, they have no idea.
Yeah.
So, but I will say I like the fact that the rides are getting high tech and it is a really cool ride. And I think it's a perfect addition to Toontown because it is a cartoon. I'm interested to see what the rest of the stuff they're going to do. I don't know what changes they're making to Roger Rabbit. Yeah,
I don't think they're making any changes to the rides.
they said they're going to be doing some upgrades, but I don't know if
Oh,
that's
really?
just a technical upgrade or if they're actually going to be adding stuff. I don't know.
Oh, they changed it a little bit by
Yeah,
making
Jessica
Jessica
in
wear
a trench coat.
a trench coat. Covered her up a bit. All right, okay, let's get into the Walt Disney Company's Q1 earnings call.
Mm-hmm.
So the Walt Disney Company reported a revenue of $23.51 billion in the first fiscal quarter of 2023, which is up by 8% from the previous quarter.
Yeah. So, I mean,
8%, that's a lot.
that's a lot.
And then Disney Parks and Resorts has reported $8.7 billion in revenue in the first quarter, and that's up by 21%.
Then you have to wonder, does Iger take credit for
Is
that?
that
or
Iger?
is that Chapek? You know?
No, it's
Uh,
Iger because he was gone. Chapek was gone by November of last year, of Q4.
Yeah, that's true.
So the whole first quarter was all Iger.
Wow.
Maybe they're like, "Oh, Iger's back. Let's go to let's
Let's
buy
go to
a
the
ticket
park."
and see what's going on." I don't know. And then attendance has risen over the last quarter as compared to Q1 of 2022, which is last year, at Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort.
Well, to go back to it, usually the decisions made in the previous quarter usually affect the quarter they're counting. So it's kind of Chapek. But whatever. You know, Iger will take the credit.
No, I already gave DeSantis his win. We're not giving Chapek a win too. Okay. However,
Mhm.
Disney Plus lost 2.4 million subscribers in the last 3 months of 2022. So not Q1, but in 2022. Last 3
Yeah.
months. So Q4.
But we'll
Let's blame that on Chapek. Because Q4.
Well,
Just kidding. I don't know who to blame it on. Just whatever.
yeah,
I think it's a trend. Netflix is losing money,
the big thing, and I'll talk about it later, of how Iger affects the finances of Disney has nothing to do with actual finances. It's more philosophy. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay. So there is a big reorg. So the reorg now is like there's only 3 core segments at the Walt Disney Company, which is entertainment,
Mhm.
ESPN, and parks, experience, and products is all one. So parks, experience, and
Yeah.
products is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other. So the move follows, the dismantling of that DMED, that Disney Media Entertainment that Chapek previously set up.
Yeah. Which is basically we found out now, just to fudge the numbers.
Yeah. So now that there's a new structure, it's aimed at returning creative authority to Disney's world-class creative team and its unparalleled brands and franchises. So that's what Chapek said during the conference, earnings call. So he also said, we must return creativity to the center of the company, increase accountability, improve results, and ensure the quality of our content and experience.
So that's the biggest thing, and this is the philosophy part.
Mm-hmm.
What Bob Chapek did was, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, but he put finance guys, his finance bros,
Mm-hmm.
in charge of the P&Ls of every division.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's probably like 30 divisions.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And what that enabled him to do, it had 2 effects. One, it enabled him to manipulate numbers.
Yep.
And when I say manipulate, it sounds malicious, but if you're a shareholder, it is malicious because you want to know the actual facts,
Right.
right? Was he? It's not like, I don't want to make it sound like he was embezzling money or anything. He wasn't doing that. What he was doing was moving money around to make certain things look more profitable than they were.
Yeah.
So like he would take money from parks, he might put it in, movies, and then the movies
Yeah.
look more
Well,
profitable.
one example I think that we had reported before was, I think it was something that was a Disney Channel movie,
Mhm.
but he put the revenue in Disney Plus
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he made it look like,
It was a
Disney Plus
Disney
was
Plus.
more
Yeah.
profitable than it was.
Yeah.
And it's very, is it illegal? It depends. The SEC would have to determine that.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's illegal because if you have all your finance bros writing the policies of your company,
Yeah.
then it's
not-
kind of like,
yeah.
it's-
And especially with all that, they lost money. The SEC is not going to. The SEC might look at something if you're like the company's stock is going way up or whatever.
Right.
But if the company's losing money, they're just like whatever,
well,
right? They're not going to be paying attention to.
well, they could look at it from a standpoint of transparency as far as your shareholders. So if if I'm a shareholder or a potential shareholder and you make it look like it's making money, I might invest in your company as opposed to pulling money out. So then you're manipulating me because I don't know the truth of your financials. If that makes sense, right? So if everything, really savvy investors could look at a particular segment of the company that streaming is the next big thing or blah, blah, blah. And they could say, oh, well, compared to Netflix and Amazon, Disney Plus made all this money, So obviously they're an industry leader in that particular area. Therefore, I'm going to invest in this company. But it turns out they're really not an industry leader. Actually, all streaming services are kind of losing money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're all losing.
They're kind of putting money into it, and you can say, well, why do companies continue to put them out if they're losing money? You have to understand you're dominating a space, So it's not the financials of a company are not the same as the finance of a household, And I could talk a little bit more about this when we get to the layoffs, but for an industry, you want to be, if you're the head of that industry and you know that industry is going to dominate, like AI, for example, right? Everyone's talking about the company OpenAI. It already went up to billions of dollars, that's through the chat GPT and all this. Well, that's so super valuable. It's not doing anything right now. But if we are saying that, speculating that that's going to be the future, which is AI technology, then the leading AI company right now has a huge valuation. And so they're dominating the space. And so until something else could say, hey, look at us, we're more dominant, that's going to be the leading thing. That's what these companies are fighting for. We're going to be the leading companies in the space of streaming maybe 10, 20 years from now, when there's not going to be any more regular TV or cable or whatever. Everything's going to be streaming. You're investing for us because that's going to be the thing. If somebody would invested in, CVS, back before there were mega pharmacies, they'd be super rich right now.
Yeah.
So that's how people are thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But the philosophy part is that he got rid of that. He simplified it and said, look, basically, Disney is only going to be three things.
Yeah.
It's going to be entertainment and parks and what was the third one?
Entertainment, ESPN.
ESPN. Yeah, I was forgetting about
their own little thing.
Yeah, which is cool because they've always kind of speculated of maybe they're going to sell it off or not.
Oh yeah.
But if it's its own entity, you're going to get full transparency. So it actually increases its valuation because now you can say, well, if they were thinking about selling it, I might be a company or organization that wants to purchase it. I'd be like, well, is ESPN profitable because they're tied to parks money?
Right.
It's like, I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense to put them under entertainment because they're entertainment kind of.
Yeah, but they want it to be its own thing.
Its own thing, yeah.
So it has its own valuation.
Yeah.
So now whatever they do with it, it's like ESPN is ESPN. But more than that, he's giving the P&Ls back to the department heads.
The creative people.
Right. He's going to let the creators create. And, hey, if you want to make something, if Kevin Feige wants to make something, he doesn't have to go through anybody.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
He goes through the president of entertainment.
Right. Or he goes, and I mean, even then, he's going to have his own budgets.
Yeah.
So he can make something, and if it flops, it's on him.
Right.
But if you trust him, if you say this is the best guy for superhero movies,
was hired for this,
yeah, and he has a huge track record, going back decades now, because Marvel movies have been out that long. Then put it in his hands, let him do his thing. Don't put an accountant over him that's going to tell him,
what his budget is and stuff.
What color War Machine suits should be this year, or we can't afford the CGI budget on the Hulk, so don't put the Hulk in that and put him in this, He's going to be able to make those decisions within his own budget. And if he loses, he loses. And if he wins, he gets the credit. Iger doesn't need the credit. He just wants to make Disney as a whole better.
Yeah.
So he's letting the smart people decide.
Yep. And he's emphasized that moving forward, the creative teams will determine what content we're making, how it's distributed and monetized, and how it gets marketed. So
there's a lot of and you'll hear this a lot from the anti-woke people that they're just trying to pander to this group or that group. when you have creatives doing stuff, you don't see pandering. You'll still see representation. You'll
Yeah.
still see stuff, but they're not going to make
that's-
something just for
Yeah.
you know.
Because that's what Disney, like he said, that's what Disney's known for is world class in Imagineering and creativity,
right.
right?
So they're going to make what they think is going to appeal to the public and what
Yeah.
people want and what they think people want and in the way they want it. And, people are still going to be mad at them for whatever reasons, but at least you know that a creative person is making art
Mm-hmm.
instead of an accountant making art,
Right.
which is better.
Okay. So he also announced that an Avatar experience would be coming to Disneyland. And during the Q&A, people asked him to clarify about it, and he said it's a version of Pandora, the world of Avatar. Because I know when he first just said, Avatar experience, you and Carrie sounded the same. Because you both are like, well, we don't know what the experience means. It could just be, like the Black Panther thing or whatever.
Yeah, because that's what they said. That was the Black Panther Wakanda Forever experience. And I'm not saying that was bad.
I don't know, yeah. But don't get all excited because it's
Yeah.
not going to be like a ride or anything.
I mean, if somebody says we're bringing, Flight of Passage to Disneyland, that's huge.
right.
But that's not what they're doing.
And he didn't even say an Avatar attraction. He said experience.
Right. That could just
So
be
that
some people in
could-
blue paint walking around.
Whatever.
No, seriously. That's an experience.
Yeah.
How do you define experience? It could
So
be
that's
anything.
why in the Q&A, we're like, what do you mean? He's like a version of Pandora
Where?
in Disneyland.
Where in Disneyland?
Well, there's speculation that it could be Launch Bay because
Okay.
that whole big building is like nothing.
So you
right
know how
now.
they used to have, like, they had an Avengers experience in there and they had a Star Wars
Yeah.
experience in there. That's what they could mean. It could mean a museum
But
of
he
Pandora.
said a version of Pandora, the world of
Yeah,
Avatar.
you can put fake trees in there. You can do it, stuff. But, I mean,
It's
I'm not
fine, it's
saying this. I'm
fine.
not saying it's a small thing. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
manage people's expectations.
Yeah, I
People
know.
like you who get angry very easily.
No, I don't get angry. I know how corpos speak. They do this to calm everyone down because there's masking something that they did that will go on to the negative later.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know?
it's one of those things
It's
where
like D23.
I don't want people to
spout
be
out a
like,
bunch of new exciting things just to keep people calm for a while.
Well, I honestly still don't know anybody who's seen
Avatar,
Avatar. I don't even remember the name of the movie.
The Way of Water or
The
something.
Way of Water. Yeah. Everyone
I
who
don't know
has seen
anyone
it.
who's seen it either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Johnny. Have you seen Avatar?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know. We haven't listened to a lot of podcasts. I don't remember anyone actually doing a whole podcast on it. There's people who do an entire podcast on a Marvel movie. There's going to be podcast episodes dedicated just to Ant-Man. I don't know any. I haven't seen any Avatar podcasts. I heard podcasts who've mentioned Avatar. Like we went to see it. It was good. It was this or that.
I haven't heard of that either.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's seen.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So the next thing he announced was, in order to fuel growth at Disney parks, the company will be investing in new lands attractions in order to increase capacity without overcrowding the parks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes us think he means a new land. But who knows? So yeah. So of course, crowds are a problem. So if you open new lands, it'll spread out the crowd a little more, and then it can increase park capacity.
So the problem with opening new lands is it's up to Anaheim, not really Disney, because all their
Yes.
space is pretty much taken right now. And when I say that, it's not that they don't have land because they already had a Disney Forward thing.
Yeah.
In the
But
plan.
that depends on Anaheim
That
too.
depends on Anaheim. So it's not like they could just say, you know what, this parking place, we're going to start building rides in there. Well, it's not zoned for that.
Yeah.
They can't just start putting rides in anywhere they want. So
New lands. So, I mean, there are spaces that's not being used, like that whole Hollywood backlot place, and then the whole Hyperion, which is rumored, but that's just a rumor.
that's not a big enough for a land though.
Yeah, but they could just bulldoze it all down. I mean, they can do some magic.
Yeah.
Disneyland especially, they can be creative with utilizing every single space.
I think they've kind of done that, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Anyways, that's just what he said.
He,
So
with Iger, he could already be talking to Anaheim
yeah.
just behind the scenes. And
So like I said, with reorganization, with the 3 core segments, there's always any reorganization comes with job cuts. And this is across all of the Walt Disney Company.
Mhm.
So it could be any of the 3, but it's 7,000 jobs across the company.
Yeah. And so I put some notes in here, and it was just
3.5 versus
you-
5.5.
well, you have to talk about to say. You don't know what I'm writing. You just read it.
This is why I edit the notes in case you read it.
Yeah, it took some math. My OCD wife. But it's basically 7,000 jobs is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But in the scope of Disney,
Mhm.
that's 3.5% of their workforce.
Mm.
So it's not like they're laying off like 20%.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? I don't know where those jobs are going to get cut.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we talk about cast members and the cast members we know who work at the parks and stuff, those people are sorely needed. You can't really cut them. That
Yeah,
much.
I don't think it's a majority of them are cast members. I don't think.
No.
I mean, not cast
well,
members.
they're all cast
They're
members.
all
but
cast. The
yeah.
parks
park
cast
workers,
members.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to cut retail because that's a revenue
Mm-hmm.
growth. So it's going to be probably people. Well, one thing is that if you compare it to like 2020,
Mm-hmm.
they're still going to be up. Even with after the 7,000 cuts, they're still
Mhm.
going to have more people than they did in 2020.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And then they're probably going to cut a lot of like the finance bros that
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
JPEG
The
hired.
finance.
Finance, accounting. They're probably just going to have core teams because you're not going to need these like overseers of these departments.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to have, your general payroll accounting staff, and then each department will have their own. But you're not going to have these special things that report directly to Iger.
Mm.
Like the reporting to JPEG.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and that's probably only a few hundred people there, but a few hundred out of 7,000, and then you do a certain amount out of attrition.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if he said cuts or layoffs. Was it layoffs or
They
cuts?
just said cut.
Because a cut could be attrition too. And so that just means that, when our good old friend Rex retires,
Mm-hmm.
they're just not replacing that position right now. That would technically be a job cut. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that people are getting their pink slips for all
Yeah.
7,000 jobs.
Right.
So layoffs means that we're getting rid of
Yeah.
people who have jobs
yeah.
and we're pushing you out the door.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably a combination of both.
Could be a combination of both.
Yeah.
And now, that doesn't mean that attrition cuts are good, because what happens is that means more work on the people who are there,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm working with a buddy who retires and they don't replace him, well, now I got to do my work and his work.
Right.
So me and you have always been very cast member friendly,
Mm-hmm.
cast member supportive. We always support them. I'll wait and see what they think and what they're feeling on the ground once these cuts happen
Mm-hmm.
before I actually give a personal opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people don't understand. I mean, first of all, we are in a recession, and there's job cuts in almost throughout corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're all cutting.
Mm-hmm.
Netflix is cutting. Everything's cutting. And now, what does that mean? Well, it depends on what sector you're in. If the people who got laid off, there's like those TikToks going around, and then that one real famous one that's like, oh, my last day at Google,
Mm-hmm.
and she did this. The people at Google, the FANG companies,
Mm-hmm.
they are, and FANG is what? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people, even the ones who are tech heavy, they're not going to lay off like core system creators, but people who are kind of tied to tech, really, they're cool companies. They're just going to go work at like Texas Instruments or just less cool tech companies. You know what I mean? They're still going to be making six figures, or whatever. For Disney employees, it's going to be the same thing for the people who are in finance and accounting. They're just going to work for less cool companies. They're going to they're going to be in the accounting department at AT&T or something like that. So for most of the professional people, they're going to still have jobs. It's just, it might not be where they want and with who they want, not their first choices. A lot of people are always saying, and rightfully so, like, why, if a company has all this money and they've made all this revenue the year before or whatever, and Disney, as far as stock price, took a big hit in the last year, but why don't people, and when I say people, I mean company heads, just save that money for a rainy day fund, and when the economy gets bad, they can still afford to pay their people and not lay them off.
Mm.
And a lot of people just think that, like, well, corporations are just evil because they're just greedy. Well, it's not just that. I mean, basically, there's only three things you can do with revenue once you make it. Well, and I should say not just revenue, but profit, right? Revenue is just all the money coming in, but then you have expenses. So let's say you have $1 billion after expenses, right? That's your actual profit. You can only do three things. You could save it, which is what people are complaining about. Why don't they save their money? You can spend it, or you can give it back to your shareholders as far as dividends.
Mm-hmm.
And saving it is actually the worst thing you can do, and it's kind of weird. It's basically that goes against, and this is what I mean. It's not the same as a household. So a family might say, let's save some money in case I get laid off, or let's save some money for an emergency, or in case our car breaks down, or whatever. But when you're making, like, if you made $1 billion in profit, and I'm just throwing that number out there, for a corporation, if you save it, for one, you're taxed on it. So now that $1 billion is like $700 million. And then with inflation, that's going to eat more of that, right? So you can't buy as much. So even if you were saving it for employees or whatever, you used to be able to get, like, 10,000 employees for that amount. Well, now you can only get, like, 7,000 or whatever, and then it's just not a functioning strategy, right? So you're losing money by saving it. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders if you're a public company. So if they have a right to dividends, then you kind of have to give it to them. You can't say, well, we're going to put your money in something that's going to lose you value in the company, as opposed to just giving it to you. And then usually what they do is they do stock buybacks or something like that. It makes people in the company richer, but if that was your money invested in a company, people tend to have a different take versus if they were an employee of that company, So that's kind of how things go.
So, sorry.
What?
I'm trying to do two things at the same time. So.
As always.
Well, one of our podcast friends, has a live going on, but I couldn't hear what they're saying because it's some big announcement.
Right now? They already made the announcement?
I don't know. I said I'm on mute because Brian's rambling. So I don't know if they're. Let me see. Well, my video just went out because maybe you're
Disneyland.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Get something magical from the magical day that will be Splash Mountain. It's turning this event into something way bigger than us, way bigger than Splash, way bigger than Disneyland. So, Johnny, do you want to share our goal, our crazy goals?
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, so we have some pretty crazy goals here. And if you guys know me, you know my podcast, or especially if you've interacted with me and reached out and talked to me on Instagram, as corny as the line is, I am a big supporter of teamwork makes the dream work. Everything we do, especially in this Disney community, it's always better when you have more people involved and more people have your back and you have their back, and you just kind of all follow along that path together, and it just makes everything better. So our hope is here that a lot of our fellow podcasters, our fellow people here in the Disney online community want to jump on board and this isn't, we didn't start this to be like, this is Johnny and Hannah's thing, and it's all about us and our podcast. We want to start this to make it a teamwork makes the dream work type of experience for everybody. So if you're a fellow podcaster, you're in the Disney community, you want to get involved with us and help us raise these funds for this awesome charity, we really think if we get enough people behind us here, our ultimate top goal is $50,000.
And we
which
milestone
massive.
goal. So if you go on our fundraiser page with Chalk, and my dog is drinking water. Yeah. Always does this when I'm recording something, but every time. But so we actually created a whole Instagram page for this. So it's called the Podcast Mics for Magic. So that's what the PMFM stand for. And we are now following ourselves as of right before this live. And on that, the website that will be linked is directly to our Chalk fundraising website. Sorry, I just totally spaced. And so you can go there and you can look, and that's where we're going to start sharing everything. So just like Johnny said, it's not going to be EMSW, a Learning Disney podcast thing. We're creating it into a totally separate entity to make sure that you guys understand how much this means to us and how much bigger it is than just the two of us. And calling it the Podcast Mics for Magic is because it's not just our podcast. We want all of the podcasters to be part of this. We have a lot of hopes and dreams that we can get everyone involved, and all of us can be there on that final day in Disneyland riding Splash to raise money for this event. So Johnny has a lot of cool ideas in regards to us possibly going on your podcast, you guys sharing information, sharing the page, making a reel, just putting the word out there, because again, it's all of us all together. And then, so that 50K is our biggest thing. And then, so like I said, how are we going to spread that money? So first thing is donating. So if you feel so inclined, we can start donating now. We don't want to wait until we get that date because we don't have a date yet. And we don't know when a date is going to be. We're thinking it's probably not going to be for another month or two. So it gives us plenty of time to start raising money. Oh, yay. Melissa just said she's in. Yay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have our first supporter.
Then Johnny had a great idea. Can you talk about the shirts, what we want to do with the shirts?
Yep. So the idea with the shirts is that everybody that's really jumping on board with this and talking about it on their podcast and helping us out, what we want to do is get all of at least your Instagram handles or your contact information on the back of this t-shirt, and ideally maybe even put your logos on there as well, so that on that final day at the parks when Splash is closing down, hopefully as many people that can get out there and can get that park reservation and be there with us. Our plan is to literally just do the Ironman for Splash all day. That's all we want to do, is just rope drop Splash and just ride it over and over and over again. And we're hoping if we can get 20, 30 people there all together, we all wear the same t-shirt together. We'll have everybody that's been supporting the whole thing all along there right on our backs physically the day of. And we'd love to get a QR code put on the sleeve as well that will bring you right to the website where you can donate to the Chalk Foundation. So our plan is just to carry that fundraising efforts right into that final day there when we're in the parks together, and just talk to as many people as we can in the parks, talk to people in line, talk to people at the churro cart, rope them in wherever you can, let them hit that QR code on your sleeve. And bring them right to
so that's
website.
The biggest thing is getting everyone hyped up, and we would love to have a huge crowd. Of course, everyone doesn't have to ride Splash over and over with Johnny and I, but we've already promised to each other that we would do that.
We definitely won't.
The more crowd we can get, think about if you're at Nurses Day or Villains Day, or even when I was in the Gumball Rally, so many people were asking because they kept seeing us all just wearing the same lanyard. If we're all wearing the same QR codes, and we're saying we're
maybe we'll
kids, we know how many people are flocking to the parks because it's
maybe
Splash's last day. How much more we can get, the bigger the crowd is. So shameless plug, if you design shirts or if you
Yeah, I think we missed a big announcement, but I think Podcast Mics from Magic, that's going to be a charity they're doing for the Chalk Foundation.
That all podcasters can
all podcasters.
But we'll all get together with Johnny. Maybe we'll have him on the show one day to explain it all. And
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be sharing more information on Instagram, and we'll share it too.
Absolutely.
But we'll get together with Johnny and have him share it.
But that was our first going live.
We
We'll do it
always
live.
go live.
We do it live. So I just saw you like typing, and it's like you didn't tell me what was going on, and I'm just like, okay.
Well, originally I was like, oh, let's, all tune in after we record. But
Mhm.
we kind of had a late day or late start. So I was like, oh, shoot, we'll be tuning in while recording. I don't know how this works, but I don't want to miss this because
Mm-hmm.
all the clues and anticipation. I knew it had to do with Splash Mountain
Mm-hmm.
and at Disneyland. Because
Mm-hmm.
when Disney World's gone. And then I knew it had to do with collabing with other podcasters.
Right.
But I didn't know all my guesses were all wrong. Like, I'm like, oh, I know. You're going to have your wife co-host your podcast. And his wife actually came on in the comments. He's like, and I said, I didn't even say your wife. I'm like, I know. It's Mrs. DMSW joining the podcast. And she's like, oh, never going to happen. And then she's like, Mrs. DMSW.
That's so funny.
So anyways, all my guesses were wrong, but I was close.
Yeah. But we'll bring you the full story during our next episode.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the Walt Disney Company. So CFO Christine McCarthy announced the capacity during peak periods at the parks will now be cut by 20%
Wow.
compared to pre-pandemic, even with attendance up at Disney parks. I guess the change goes hand in hand with people complaining about park reservation system. And that was a system that was championed by her and Josh D'Amaro to improve the guest experience.
Right.
So their thing is, hey, we're going to reduce capacity so that the guests who are there will have a better guest
time.
experience than, crowds everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so the reservation system is not going away.
It's not going away, but they're still going to reduce capacity.
Yes, they're still reducing capacity during peak season.
Right.
20%. So those reservations
Yeah,
will
they're going to be like gold.
gold.
But now, yes, they want to, again, and I've said this before, yes, they want a better guest experience. And I do believe Iger believes that. I believe D'Amaro believes that. Don't know McCarthy as well, but let's just give her the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
She believes that as well. But let's keep in mind that most of Disney's revenue comes from the stuff you purchase post-ticket.
Yes.
So that means food, merchandise, special events that, cost money. Anything that costs money after you buy your ticket.
Mhm.
And the more you're going to spend more money if you're not in line as much.
Yes.
Period. So if they got their math wizards on it and they're like, somebody who's in the park, let's say from rope drop to close, right? 8 till midnight. How much time are they spending in lines? And then how much money are they spending, per hour?
Right.
And they can come up with a formula to where, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The less time if you can still get the things that you want to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm somebody coming from out of town, if I'm a favorable, I don't know if we can still use that word, but because Iger's back, but yeah.
No, he did. He used a different word.
Yeah. So if I'm a favorable, you'll tell me the new word later.
Yes.
That means I'm not. It's not like an unfavorable to where, okay, I wanted to go on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I did that. Now I go home. You know what I mean? If I'm coming from out of town, I'm going to stay at Disney all day, no matter what.
Yeah.
So from rope drop to close.
Yeah.
And if I'm that type of person, and that's a lot of the people, then I am going to, it's almost like, what do you do in prison? Right? You're in a magical prison, but you're not leaving. You see what I mean? So what am I going to do while I'm there? If I can get in and out of Space Mountain in 17 minutes, with a lightning lane,
Yeah.
From beginning to end,
Yeah.
and then my next lightning lane is like in a half an hour,
Mm-hmm.
well, I might buy an extra corn dog.
Yeah.
I might just go look at the shops.
Yeah.
How many times have we just went in there and looked at things and we like, oh, that's cool, and we just purchased it. It might not be that expensive,
Right.
but if we spend $10, you multiply that by like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's a lot of money, especially for 1 hour, because we're talking about per hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and then the next people come in, and the next people come in. So yeah, it's that's probably what they're thinking. It's like, do we want a park where people come in and only pay for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then the rest of the time they're standing in line? Or do you want somebody to come in, get all the things done that they want to do, you know, but still have half the time they're there looking at shops, buying food, etc.
Yeah.
So it's a good strategy, and if that formula says that is actually going to increase revenue more than more people in the parks, period, because if you have more people in the parks, and that just means more people standing in line not buying stuff,
Yeah.
versus 20% less, and the people who are in the parks are buying 30% more, then they win, right? So smart.
Yeah.
It's
That
smart.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And he just called us APs. That's all he said. He wants to shift the mixed APs from mixed APs to once a year visitors. Basic, same thing as
Ah.
Chapek said, but nicer, right?
Well, favorable and unfavorable is
He
pretty.
basically wants focusing on once a year visitors, shifting the focus on once a year visitors
Mhm.
from APs to once a year visitors.
Yeah.
That's kind of vague, but in a nutshell, that's
It's
what
nicer.
it means.
It's
yeah.
definitely nicer.
Then, of course, somebody has to pick on him. I thought we were called magic key holders, not APs. And then somebody was arguing, well, it's still called APs at Disney World. Well, you know what he means. Would you rather he say unfavorable? It's like, what do you,
Look, he
there's always somebody
you're talking about a
saying something.
72-year-old man who's worked at Disneyland since he was 21.
Yeah.
Most of that tenure, they called him annual pass holders. So he's just going to go with what he knows.
Yeah.
So that's
and
fine.
it is annual pass.
And it is an annual
Yeah.
pass. Yeah.
If you just look at the, yeah. Anyways, one last thing for the Q1 earnings. Christine McCarthy also announced that capital expenditures, which include costs for building and maintenance, property, physical properties, will be reduced by $700 million across all Disney parks in the United States only, domestic parks. So while $6.7 billion was originally budgeted for these capital expenditures, they're going to cut it by $700 million. So now it's only $6 billion.
The
And
capital
this-
expenditures are like cool stuff, though.
Yeah, like they said, like this fiscal year, the majority of the capital expenditures went to the completion of Tron,
Mm-hmm.
the retheming of Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou,
Mm-hmm.
and the Journey of Water inspired by Moana at Disney World.
Right.
And then for Disneyland Resort, it's reimagining of Mickey's Toontown and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Because
Right.
we're a smaller park, we don't really have much.
Yeah.
That's the only two
I just hear
things.
that Florida's stealing our money. That's what
Yeah,
I hear.
what? Wait a minute.
Where's our
Where's
Avengers
our
ride?
Splash Mountain turning to Tiana's Bayou?
Well, they haven't. That's
What-
still being
where's
spent.
that budget going?
Well, it's still they still have.
Oh, the
billions
last
of
year. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder they're like, oh, we don't have enough money to build whatever the second Avengers ride, or the third, I guess.
Yeah.
Considered the third Avengers ride.
dollars.
Because Guardians is
They fed it to
one
the
of
alligators in Florida. So,
them. Not in the budgeting.
all right.
So that's all for the Q.
Do we have to do
one.
more misspellings at Disney?
Yes, because it's fun.
Well, I guess.
This is why I change stuff in the notes, because it starts with notes, and then it ends up at Disney banners,
Okay.
like spelling errors.
All right.
It starts by someone not fixing their notes, and now it makes it to the banner.
Mhm.
Well,
Speaking of notes, did you even write down Taste Talk,
no.
Miss OCD note taker?
What did we do for today? Well, I'll go back to my Instagram when we get there.
See, you gotta just be sharp. We're doing the burrito.
I know. Well, this is fun though, because Lightning Lane was spelled wrong on the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway sign. It was spelled with an E.
Oh,
Lightning, like instead of lightning, like like ding. And then Indiana Jones has a bunch of spelling mistakes. So Indiana Jones is under construction, and all the under construction signs have mistakes. Well, not all, but one says, "Notice, no items may be removed from this site." SIGHT instead of SITE. Without written permission, without written persimmon from Dr. Henry. So permission was spelled wrong.
What if it was a persimmon? I can remove anything I want if I bring a
without
persimmon.
written persimmon?
Yeah.
What's your persimmon going to write?
No, it's just something written on a persimmon.
All right,
And I
whatever.
can bring there, and I can walk out with the Eye of Mala.
And then Dr. Henry Jones, the Board of Regents of the Archaeology Department in Redford, but it's actually Bedford. So we know it was spelled wrong because the sign is now taken down. Oh, by the way, that Mickey with the platinum Mickey with the wrong quote is gone.
Oh.
Maybe he'll be replaced with the right quote,
They
but he's
kidnapped
gone
him.
now. Yeah. Okay, and then what's this one? Join me on the most splendid tour of the Temple of the Forbidden Eye with and opportunity instead of an opportunity. I don't know. That sign's probably gone now too. But anyways,
All right.
sometimes we wonder.
Now,
It's Taste Talk with Tracy. Mash some magic in your mouth.
The Asian beef burrito is what we had from the Studio Catering Co. truck. It's that little red truck
nice.
in Hollywood Studios.
It was good.
It was delicious, surprisingly. So the burritos has Korean marinated beef, which is probably bulgogi, kimchi fried rice with bacon, gochujang cabbage salad with almonds and toasted ramen, topped with a gochujang aioli.
Yeah, I don't know what all that stuff is, but it was good.
Gochujang is a Korean paste I have in the fridge. When I make ramen, I put.
And you're going to make burrito for Maribel because she let us use her picture for
Yes,
Instagram.
we took a horrible picture. Well, I took a horrible picture
You too.
because we only eat at night, and night has bad lighting, and the way we were just that whole night was just whatever for us. So but Maribel took a better picture, so I borrowed her picture. So the picture you see on Instagram is not ours; it's our friends. We did ask her for permission. Persimmon. We asked her for her
For persimmons.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little spicy.
Really?
Well, the burrito, yeah, because it had the kimchi.
The kimchi and the gochujang.
Yeah.
That's chili paste.
So, and when I say a little spicy, I mean a little spicy. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say a little spicy and they mean spicy.
Yeah.
No, this was a little spicy.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really good. And I think that, just like the egg roll, burrito, it's like, it's fusion. Yes, it's Asian, and it's.
Yeah, but there's Asian ingredients
We got
in
in a
it.
big argument about this. Like, which one is Asian? And
This
which one
has
is not?
Asian ingredients in it.
Yeah.
The only thing is it was wrapped in, like the koji truck. For those of you who are not in California, the koji truck was a big deal. They were Korean tacos.
Mhm.
They were bulgogi beef in tacos. This is what this is.
Yeah, well, I think they're both fusion. So, no.
No. Negative.
Okay.
But I wish I could get it again.
I know, but you're gonna make it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be better.
So confident. Confident are you? Mm.
You do sound like Yoda.
I still want to remind everybody that we have we're going to have 2023 is going to be the year of the giveaway. So we have a lot of stuff to give away. We're going to be doing random giveaways. We might even be doing dual part giveaways.
Well, whatever this charity thing is, maybe we should bring some giveaways with us.
Yeah. We'll collaborate. We'll talk to Johnny. I apologize. We didn't get on to his live stream quick enough for him to make the big announcement and give all the details. But I think you guys got the gist of it. It's going to be a charity, and it involves Splash Mountain.
Which the both of us are scared to ride. Not scared, but we
both
prefer
rode it.
not to. We rode it once just to get it over with.
I don't think fear is the right word. Being wet is the right word.
No, we don't like Guardians either because we don't like drop rides.
I don't mind.
And a lot of people don't like drop
I don't mind
rides.
the drop on Splash.
On Splash?
No,
Really?
it's fine. It's the wetness. It's like if it's kind of like you have to bring a change of clothes on.
Well, I guess the next time we go, we'll be staying on property. And if we get wet, we could go change.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And it's also colder now, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, see, that's what you don't like. It's like, oh no, I'll catch the wind.
I'll get sick.
All right.
Well, we really only have one dot point.
Well, we could talk about the Ant-Man reviews a little bit.
Okay.
It's not spoilers because we're not spoiling anything, so don't worry about that.
Okay. So the only dot point I had was recently one of the Pirates of the Caribbean boats sank at Disneyland.
Which is crazy.
There was somebody's TikTok, and there was like a huge puddle of water, like in where their feet, and everybody had their feet up, and then it was like they're trying to get them out, and then finally the Disney fire department came and put like a plank down so they could walk off the boat through the plank, and someone was like, "Oh, this is the real pirates, like walking off a plank."
It's water, yeah.
So it was like, the boat was like, water came in it, like, and then it just started filling up. It was so weird.
It's weird because you would think something like that, whatever caused that to happen, you would think it's that ride, how long it's been up and how many boats go through every day. You would think what happened because or why doesn't it happen all the time?
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying. Because you would think that either something like that could never happen or else it would happen a lot more because, Rise of Resistance breaks down like twice a day. So Radiator Springs breaks down like 2-3 times a day. So Pirates hardly ever breaks down. And so I'm just wondering, was it a hole in the boat or what? I don't know. It's strange.
Well, how?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because isn't the boat made of material like our bathtub? It's like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If there's not a hole there, I don't know what happened. And as far as sinking, there's really the water's not that deep.
Right.
You can actually see the tracks when you look over. So, and it's on a track. So, interesting. I'm wondering. Maybe we'll ask Shadow Magic, one of our Shadow Magic collective people. I'm excited about Ant-Man. And the reason I'm excited about Ant-Man is not because I'm the biggest Ant-Man fan. He's not my favorite. He's your sister's favorite MCU character. But this is the first movie of Phase 5.
Yes.
And Kang, you guys have all seen the ads about, Kang is playing a prominent role. And Jonathan Majors, that's the one thing I will say about the reviews so far is that they say he knocks it out of the park. And the reason that's important is because, like any good story, people always tell you the antagonist is the most important character.
Yes.
Anybody can make a hero.
Yes.
They're technically boring. Unless they're anti-heroes like the Punisher, But every other hero has the same motivation. I'm just going to save everyone.
Yeah.
I just got to figure it out.
They're all like annoyingly self-righteous.
I know.
Like Cap.
But and you're going to say, well, yeah, okay, it's a good villain. Why are you so excited about that? Because if he didn't work in Ant-Man, that means all of Phase 5 and Phase 6 won't work. Because he's the main villain for the next 2 phases. So that means Loki's not going to work. That means the Kang Dynasty, all the things that this is building up to has to do with Kang. So if he didn't work in his first outing in a major motion picture, then it's kind of going to be a bummer for Marvel movies for the foreseeable future. If he does work, all right, we're good. So for everything I'm hearing, he kills it, he nails it, and now I'm excited. A lot of people are worried if Ant-Man dies or not. I don't know. Don't really care. I think it's a multiversal saga. They could bring him back. And we all know that Josh Rudd's immortal in real life, so it is what it is. I'm really excited to announce our in-park giveaway thing because it's a little different looking than the things that we've given away before. Not different in practicality, but just different looking. But that's it for us today. We will be back next Thursday. Don't forget that we still got our February giveaway going on. And then for those of you who want to enter a spoiler giveaway for Wakanda Forever, you have until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. And that's pretty much it. I'm Brian.
I'm Tracy.
Stay magical.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe and visit us at www.ropedroppingknowledge.com.